Let's see what's new with AI at work. In today's AI update, we'll cover Gemini embracing skills even more, Copilot getting a lot of fit and finish kind of enhancements, Claude having a new UI, and a brand new model, Opus 4.7. Let's jump in. All right, let's start today in the Gemini world, okay? One notable enhancement here is that now in Chrome, using Gemini, you can turn prompts into skills. I really like to highlight this one because skills is a growing area of adoption across all the AI tools. And skills is this foundational capability that you and I need to master more and more and more. But in the Gemini ecosystem, if you nail a prompt, you now just in a one-click workflow can turn that prompt into a skill and come back to Chrome as an example using Gemini and use that skill over and over and over again. And that pretty much embraces what skills kind of do in so many contexts across the AI ecosystem. So more on skills. Keep an eye out for this. I think you'll see more AI tools embracing skills in unique ways. All right, let's jump to Copilot. Now, Copilot in Word got a glow up. I think personally, Copilot in Word and PowerPoint have been pretty weak, and in Excel, it's been growing really rapidly. So this is kind of a catch-up moment for Word, where now the Copilot capability can do more in your document for you, with you, like track changes, build a table of contents, etc. Do a lot of different things. And I think it's good to take a moment for us to just take a look at where the interface is at right now across these different apps. So when I open up the Copilot pane here on my right, I'm going to be looking for this new kind of allow editing button. Okay, either I can just go back to normal chat, which just gives me information from the web, or if I have an M365 Copilot license, which I do, in this context, it's going to reason over my work documents, bring me information. But the real power here is to allow Copilot to do some editing for you. I need to have the M365 Copilot premium or full license to do this, but you can see that's what this kind of UI is looking like right now. It's giving me suggestions and I can play around with it, but allow editing allows it to do, of course, what it says is edit within my document and be really hands-on. In Excel, you're going to see a similar kind of experience. Let me just I'm going to try to open these up side by side. Let's see how good I am at that, right? So again, similar. The one thing Excel has that Word doesn't yet is I can choose my model up here. See this auto? I can choose which model I want to use, which could be helpful, but allow editing is similar there. Now, PowerPoint last but not least. And again, let me see if I can get creative with my screen real estate for us. There we go. This one's a little different. You'll see that it has this edit with Copilot kind of agent like selected as an option here. It does mean that Copilot can allow editing here, but the UI is just a little bit different. This is something I expect Microsoft to clean up. In PowerPoint, I do get the option to choose my model though, which is helpful. So over time, I think we're going to see these become more unified, hopefully. But when you're in these different apps, just know that there are some differences, and Word just got a lot more powerful than it was, just a week or two ago. All right, in addition, in the Copilot space, if you're using scheduled prompts, which you probably should be, if you're a Copilot user, you should be playing around with this, trying this out. When you go to scheduled prompts, and let me just get you there first, is in the chat interface, hit the three little dots, which is in the Microsoft ecosystem, the X on the treasure map always. So much goodness hiding here. Let's click scheduled prompts. It's going to pull up my list. And if I have any active prompts, if I needed to change them, I used to have to delete them and rebuild them, which was frustrating. Now I hit the three little dots and I click edit schedule. Now I wish this was just edit, but because you can edit kind of everything, but click edit schedule and you can edit the prompt as well as the schedule in one step without having to delete and replace your scheduled prompt. So good kind of cleanup on Copilot's part on that front. Last one in the Copilot space is we for some time have been able to, when we share a document, come in, click the share button, like I'm going to send an email or a link to someone, and I can insert a file summary with Copilot. We've been able to do this for a little while from the web. So when I want to, I click this, it will, in my share message, put a summary of the document. So if you've got a boss that doesn't seem to read any of your content or needs the kind of TLDR, Copilot can help you do that and save you some time. Now, the update today is that capability is now available in the Windows app. So I open up File Explorer here and I'm in that same folder in OneDrive, but it's just on my desktop. And I can go to that same document, select it, right-click it, or use up in the menu, click Share. I get a very similar Share dialog box, and now I have the Insert File Summary with Copilot capability right here too. So if you work this way, which I personally work this way much more than I do in the browser-based OneDrive application, this can facilitate using that capability, which I think is a hidden one and a valuable one. Last but not least, let's get into Claude. So Claude, the desktop app, recently got a new UI update. So up in the left-hand corner, that's where you flip between chat and co-work and code if you're using those. But to me, the biggest update here is we have the ability to now pin messages. On the browser-based application for chat, as an example, you could star your favorite conversations and it would put it in this separate section. On the desktop app, it's not called starred, it's called pinned. So now you can pin your favorite conversations. They're right there for you. And finally, the biggest update from our friends at Anthropic, Claude Opus 4.7 has dropped. Anybody tired yet? Just feels like we just get updates on these models all the time. But again, I always like to, when we talk about a new model, encourage you to take a deep breath, okay? And just remember the most important skill for us is to decide and understand, when do I choose which model for my task? In the Claude ecosystem, you basically have these 3 levels, and most every AI provider has 2 or 3 levels. You have this light, small, cheap, fast model. In Claude, that's Haiku. Or in other places, you'll see like instant, like GPT instant. Then you have this kind of Goldilocks, which is probably the right model for most of your work. It's the middle ground. In Claude, it's called Sonnet. And then you have this like really intense, high level, kind of frontier, forward-thinking model. And then Claude, that's Opus. Okay, so just remember that sort of tiering. Opus just got another update. And I'm always looking for the GDP Val score, because that's the test that the industry has developed to assess how good the model is at knowledge worker tasks. I don't see it in this chart, but that's largely because the Anthropic team made a separate focus on that knowledge work down here in the charts. So you'll see Opus 4.7 is better than Opus 4.6 and better than GPT 5.4 in the knowledge work area. So it's just getting sharper and sharper. That's what we would expect from these models. So as you and I, as knowledge workers, if you're really kind of like, I've got to nail this presentation, or I really need an in-depth analysis on this Excel workbook, that's when you might be using Opus over something like Sonnet in the Claude ecosystem. But the same applies, of course, to if you're using OpenAI or Copilot or some of the other providers, Gemini. Make sure you're picking the right model. And there's really no substitute for experimentation here. Play around with them, see if it fits your use cases. And then just be mindful that, of course, Opus is going to consume, higher tokens. It's going to take your usage credits faster than something like Sonnet as well. And that's a growing area of emphasis and concern for you and I as we use AI more and more. Let's make sure that we're not burning away our session limits too quickly. So in summary, lots of good updates, but mostly a lot of kind of fit and finish, small kind of updates for us that will help us embrace greater productivity. Take a look, experiment, explore, and as always, make AI work at work.